I'm not up to that just yet.
Hi guys, POE Noob here. Inspired by Snow, who recently made a few videos about weapon swap tech for ghost busting and mapping, I'm here sharing my version of weapon swap tech for instant rage generation without using Calm Spirit, which works for most builds, especially attack-based builds, and it synergizes extremely well with Deadeye. The secret is this, Warlord's Mark, which generates 20 rage over 1 second if you stun and mark the enemy. And with divergent quality, it grants 22 rage. And this number scales with the curse or mark effect. With that said, the Deadeye focal point ascendancy gives 75 increased mark effect. And you can also get mark effect from tattoos. All that combined, you can get nearly 40 rage over 1 second, which instantly reach maximum rage, allowing the most broken buff, Berserk. So, we need to stun and mark the enemy. Sounds easy, but probably not. There are two challenges. First, how to automate the mark. Second, how to guarantee stun an enemy without instantly killing them, because if it dies, the rage generation stops. First challenge, how to automate the mark instead of manual casting. The answer is cast while channeling support. You might ask, why not mark on hit? Well, mark on hit has several issues. First, it conflicts with our sniper's mark. Second, it only marks rare or unique monsters. And as I will explain later, rare monsters are extremely hard to stun, and we instead target white mobs. That's why we're using Divergent Cyclone as the channeling skill, linked with cast while channeling and linked with Warlord's Mark, where you only need to spin to generate rage. Cyclone is also much smoother than other melee attacks while mapping. Make sure the Warlord's Mark is level 1 to minimize the mana cost. Second challenge, how to guarantee stun without instantly killing them. To achieve this, you need to test your build and make sure that each Cyclone hit damages from 5% to 40% of white mob's life. If not, you can leverage other support gems to increase or reduce your hit damage. Once your hit damage is in this sweet zone, you then support Cyclone with stun support and endurance charges on melee stun support, which in total reduce 70% of enemies' stun threshold, and it stuns very easily because Cyclone has very frequent hits, and if any one of them stuns, you got the juicy rage generation. However, according to the stun mechanic, if you have the following conditions, your hits won't stun. First, if your hit freezes, it won't stun. Second, if your hit crits and the hit has any cold damage, it won't stun. So, to avoid high chance of freeze and crits with cold damage, you can use support gems such as Control Destruction, where supported gems has 80% less crit chance, or Elemental Focus to avoid freeze, or something like Brutality to avoid elemental damage, depending on your build. So now we have Cyclone linked with cast while channeling, linked with Warlord's Mark, and then stun and endurance charges on melee stun. It's now 5 links, and the last link can be used to fix any freeze or crit issues as mentioned. If you don't have these issues, you can link with supports that give other buffs such as Fortify or Innovate. For the weapon, personally I like the Rampage Axe for even faster mapping. Also, if you can get a corrupted one with supported by Fortify, then even better. I have also thought about using Fulcrum Staff to self-chill, and then use Winterweave Rain to reverse chill, and Lethe Shade to double the chill duration. However, the currency cost and gear cost to achieve that is just too high, and I'm not a big fan of it after trying it. So that is my version of weapon swap. To conclude, you need Sinvicta's Metal Axe in the weapon swap slot, and the gem link is Divergent Cyclone, Caswell Channeling, Warlord's Mark, Stun and Endurance charges on melee stun, and then you should avoid high chance of freezing or crits with cold damage by using Control Destruction or Elemental Focus or Brutality or any other supports, depending on your build. Then test in T16 maps and make sure your Cyclone hit damages from 5% to 40% of white mobs' life. Then you are good to go. So while mapping, every once in a while, you find white mob packs, weapon swap, spend for a second, and weapon swap back, and then you will have full rage, full berserk. You will have rampage, endurance charges, and fortify or innovate buff. Is it worth the hassle of weapon swap? It's personal preference. For me, the berserk buff is just too good to not have, while Calm Spirit has a very big opportunity cost. So I'm trying to get used to this weapon swap tag playstyle. So far so good. Let me know in the comments if you have any other 5-head ideas to push this tag even further. And like this video or subscribe if you find it useful. See you next time.